Hey there, people of the grid. It's lunchtime, downtown Calgary. It's not warm out here. I just had to go back to the car. I'm going back to the office now. Got a couple of meetings, and then the day's done, so I'm going to wrap that up. I got some interesting things to share with you about iPad OS. So I've upgraded my phone to iOS 13. I've also upgraded my iPad to iPad OS, which is iOS 13 for the iPad. I was super excited for that update. I still am. I'll tell you the things that I love and the things that are still missing, and it's big. The thing that's missing, it's big. I hope it comes soon, but I'll fill you in later. Scooters are here too. It's gonna be interesting to see how long they're here, especially once snow hits the ground. Well, my day's done. I'm done downtown and on my way back home. Picked up Sammy at school. She was hanging out inside, not getting wet, which was smart. The bad weather is starting. We've got rain. The temperature has dropped.
At least it's only rain so far.
It's gotten colder. It's gotten colder, and like I said, there's snow in the forecast, but we're hoping that doesn't even materialize here. We don't need it, right? No. We don't need it yet.
I don't want snow. We could make Canada
Although I'm going to pull our snowboards down pretty soon.
Yeah,
I'm excited about that. Yeah. So we're going to get her home, and I think everybody else should be home by now. So, yep, it's going to be a good night.
I hope so.
Staying inside nice and dry and warm. Hot chocolates, maybe a game, board game.
Spirit Valley.
Good way to do a Thursday night.
Yeah.
Hey there, people of the grid. Back at home. Supper is done. We had an awesome supper. It was chili. Tammy makes it. It's incredible. I told you before that I've been using the new iPad OS since the day it dropped, which was the 24th. I updated right away as soon as it was available. So far, I do love it. It is fantastic. I like having the widgets on the side there, so you can scroll up and scroll through. That's pretty awesome. The icons are now a bit smaller, which makes it look a little more better. Not as big and clunky. I like that. Feels more laptop-like. Now, the one thing that I'll show you that I really think is pretty cool, so if I open up Safari, right? I've got Safari open here. Now what you can do is you can say, go to something like, let's go to Tree Hugger. I can actually drag that and take it down over here, and I can have two Safari windows side by side. You can resize them, and then over in the main window, I can go back to whatever tab. So you can actually be scrolling through two different sites at the same time. That's kind of nice. You can also, let's say, bring up the notes. Let's bring up the notes application, drop that there, and then you can look at your notes alongside, if you're surfing. Let's go into news. Whatever. Let's just go to, CNN. See what's going on at CNN. So you can be surfing stuff out there, taking notes on it. That's really cool. Now, the thing that I like is there's certain applications like Safari and like Notes. So in Notes, for example, I can look at two notes at once. I can look at my Light Runner notes and then kind of my favorite books to read or stuff that's on my to-read list. I can be looking at two notes at the same time. That's pretty sweet. That's what I was waiting for, and that's the thing that I love. Now, the thing that I don't love is that if I open up one of the core Apple applications, whether it's Pages or Keynote, or in this case, Numbers, this is our camping tracker thing, there's no way for me to open two spreadsheets side by side. That's what I want, Apple. I want to open two spreadsheets side by side. I do that a lot in my daily workflow. I want to open up two Pages documents side by side, so I can be editing one document, copying from another, pasting. Same thing with Keynote for presentations. I do a lot of that. I'd like to have one presentation here that I'm building and then be able to open up multiple presentations over here to pull materials and assets over from. It's how we work. You know that, people at Apple, because that's how you work. So that's something I would like to see added. I suspect they're working on it. I suspect the OS just got released prior to the refresh of the core productivity apps that they offer. So I'm hoping they come out with that in a sub-release really, really quick, because that's something we'll all be using a lot. Now, the one other thing that I tried yesterday that I thought was amazing is inside of LumaFusion. So let's get this thing going over here. So one of the things that I thought is really amazing is inside of LumaFusion, for example, that's what I use to do my video editing. It's an awesome editor. You can do 6 stacks of 4K video on top of 6 stacks of audio. It's very capable, very, very solid tool. If I open up, well, let's open up this one that I'm working on. It's the one that we made our little Star Wars movie about when we were in Disneyland. I'm still editing it. It's not done. Now, what I can do with LumaFusion is I can say export, and then I can say LumaFusion project package. I'm not going to do it now, but what that'll do, I could, LumaFusion project package, and it says where do you want to send it. Basically what it'll take is all of the assets that make up that video, the full-length videos, plus the edits that you've applied in LumaFusion, smushes it all into one package, zip file, and lets you put it somewhere. You can put it on iCloud Drive or on an external drive, which is what I did this morning just to test it out. Putting it on an external drive is awesome, because then you can offload it off your iPad if you don't have a lot of space. And just by clicking on it in the external drive, it opens up LumaFusion. It doesn't tell you what's going on, which is a bit disconcerting. They got to fix that, but it's bringing it all back in. And then about 30, 40, a minute later, there it is. Your project is right back the way it was. It's a game changer. It's incredible. See, because what I used to do is I would shoot on my iPhone, I would airdrop over to my iPad, do my edits in LumaFusion, I'd organize it inside of Photos in a folder, and then whenever I had time or my iPad started getting full, I would take those Photos folders one at a time, airdrop them over to my Mac, connect in the external drive, copy them to the backup. It's so much extra steps. Now, I just take it right out of Photos, right into my external drive. Or if my workflow is going to stay in LumaFusion, which I think it will, I can just take it right out of LumaFusion, put a package out on my drive. You can also shoot that up to the cloud too. So LumaFusion is doing some good stuff. Now, as I was doing that this morning, one of the things I realized, and I'm not going to open up my files, you can look at it on your own iPad because you don't need to see my stuff. But inside of files, okay, so here's the workflow scenario. I'm in Photos, or I'm in any app. Let's say I'm in Photos and I want to copy a bunch of files to my external drive. Now, the problem with iPad OS right now is when you do that inside of this Files app, you copy stuff to the external drive, all it does is it gives you a little spinning thing and it says, yeah, I'm working. No indication of how long it's going to take, no indication of anything. So what I suggest you do is with Files, you can actually have 2 windows side by side. So do that first. Open up your primary Files window where you're going to take from, whether that's Photos or whatever app, and then a target window of files. And you can make that one pretty small. Go to the directory where you're going to copy the stuff to, and you're just watching it. That's all you're doing. You're watching. And then inside the app or inside the other files window, you can select the 15 or 20 or 30 or 50 items you want to copy there. Start the copy. What you'll see on the files over here is you'll actually see stubs appear, and then it replaces the stubs with the real file. So that gives you an impression. Number one, lets you know it's working. Number two, you can actually see how far along you are, and you can kind of say, oh yeah, I'm halfway there, or I'm a quarter of the way there. So it's a bit of a kludge, but it'll give you what you need until Apple goes in and actually makes it part of the core offering, which again, I think this will be done in a point release. They're going to get a lot of feedback, including from you and I, right? So that's it. That's all I wanted to share. There's a lot of update videos on how to do multitasking on the iPad Pro. This thing is still my favorite go-to machine. I love it. I use it so much. Look at this. My keys, my A key is gone. My keys are wearing off. I'm actually thinking I should go back before AppleCare is up on the keyboard and see if I can get them to swap it. But I really like it. It's done pretty much a year already, almost a year worth of heavy lifting. It is on minimum 10, 12 hours a day, maybe even 15. Everything I do with work and then everything I do at home. Sometimes Tammy and I watch Netflix shows or movies on it. It's And what? That wasn't for me. Okay, that's it, guys. It's been a Thursday. Tomorrow we're sliding into Friday. Tomorrow is date night. Tammy and I are going to the theater. We'll fill you in on that tomorrow. For now, Miker out.